There's a peace I've come to know. Though my heart and flesh may fail, there's an anchor for my soul. I can say it is well. Jesus has overcome, and the grave is overwhelmed. The victory is won. He is risen from the dead, and I will rise when He calls my name. No more sorrow, no more pain. I will rise on eagle's wings before my God, fall on my knees and rise. I will rise. There's a day that's drawing near, when this darkness breaks to light, and the shadows disappear, and my faith shall be my eyes. Jesus has overcome, and the grave is overwhelmed. The victory is won. He is risen from the dead, and I will rise when He calls my name. No more sorrow, no more pain. I will rise on eagle's wings before my God, fall on my knees and rise. I will rise, and I hear the voice of many angels sing, worthy is the Lamb. And I hear the cry of every longing heart, worthy is the Lamb. Worthy is the Lamb. And I will rise when He calls my name. No more sorrow, no more pain. I will rise on eagle's wings before my God, fall on my knees and rise. I will rise.
So I know that the week can be really rough. With every day that goes by, we get more and more tired, we lose our energy, and we just feel drained by the end of the week. But if we let God into our lives, and if we let His love consume us and charge us up, then we'll be good. So please stand and join us as we sing of a love that only God can give us.
I am desperate for your touch, a glimpse of heaven through the glory of your Son. In a moment you can turn a life around forever. never to be found in you. And I am reaching out to find there's nothing greater than your love that holds my life. Your grace and mercy that has saved me by your blood and swept away my shame, Lord. Love is like fire that burns for all to see.
Happy Sabbath, everyone. As for those of you who don't know me, my name is Devin Slicer, and I'm a junior here at GCA. I'm up here today to share with you my GCA experience. But first, to share that experience, I like to say why I ended up coming to GCA in the first place. My eighth grade year, I was faced with a very difficult decision in my life. I had to choose what high school to go to. Now, for those of you who know me, it might be a surprise for you to find out that I actually wasn't planning on coming to GCA. I've had two sisters that went to the school before me, so it was obvious I was going to come here, but I was actually planning on going to CA. I had two major reasons. One, I'd always played softball up in college there where CA is, and I wanted to keep playing sports up there. Sports has always been a major part of my life, and I loved it. But my biggest part was that the friends that I made up in Collegedale were in the same grade as me. And my sisters, even though they were part of my family and they came here, all my friends were older than me. So the only friends that were my age that were in high school with me were going to go to CA. So that's one of the major reasons I wanted to come. And then GCA Academy Days came along. Of course, I was still going to go to Academy Days. So when I came here, it was an amazing experience, and I can't tell you exactly what happened. I don't know what happened that day, but when I got home, something changed in my heart. I applied for GCA, and I ended up coming to GCA. My freshman year was definitely an interesting experience. I went into my first classroom, and I sat down. I was like, okay, you got this, just be a good person. People are going to like you, hopefully. So I sat down, and the teacher starts going through the attendance list. And my last name starts with S, so I was like, I want to be somewhere in the middle. And she gets to the end of the list. I'm like, well, that's kind of interesting. I wasn't called. And she says, was there anyone's name that I didn't call? So I raised my hand, and as a freshman, I'm freaking out. And she says, oh, you must be in the wrong class. And I couldn't argue, so I said, yes, that's exactly it. So she brought me to the class that I was apparently supposed to be in, but I wasn't on that attendance list either. I went through all my classes, and I wasn't in any class. I was like, so am I not a student here? So I got done with my classes, and I called my mom, because the first person I always go to. And I was like, Mom, we have a problem. I'm not a student. And she says, okay, what do you mean? I said, I'm not in the attendance lists. And she says, okay, hold on. So I wait 30 minutes for her to make a phone call. And she calls me back, and she says, okay, it just turns out you're not in the RenWeb system. I said, what does that even mean? They said that they just haven't made you a student there yet. So I'm not a student. So that was the first major problem that I had. And the rest of the week, I went into my classes freaking out. I thought I was going to step in, and something was just going to happen, and it was all going to break down. But it was fine. Freshman year was amazing. I got through it. They sorted everything out, and I became a student. Yeah. So sophomore year came along, and this is when things started to change. When I went into sophomore year, everyone said that it was going to be the most difficult thing I've ever faced in my life. My grades were going to drop. My classes would become much harder. And me being me, I was like, bring it on. It'll be perfectly fine. So I go into sophomore year. I get into all my classes. And every time I faced a difficult challenge, I said, it's okay. I got this. I can do this. I'm going to get through it. When it hit second semester of the school, I realized that this wasn't working. I wasn't doing as good as I normally do in school. I wasn't as happy as I normally was. And I realized that something had changed. I got home one night, and I went to my parents' room. And I said, Mom, Dad, why can't I seem to do anything right? Why is it that I'm not happy right now where I am? My parents had obviously known this. They had been watching me. My mom started off saying, you're so stressed that instead of looking at everything around you, all you've been focused on is yourself. When she said that, she was right. Every time a problem came in my life, I was like, I need to fix this. I can do this by myself. I wasn't relying on God. Prayer's always been a major thing in my life. Every time a problem came to me, I would always pray about it, because that's the way that I felt like God could actually talk to me. My dad asked me a question that night. He said, Devin, how often have you been praying? And I thought about that. In that past 2 quarters, I hadn't been praying. I hadn't been as close to God as I wanted to be. Instead of being determined like I was, it had all turned into pride. The main part of being a Christian to me has always been that I need to show God's love to others. but how am I supposed to show that love without joy behind it? I started talking to my students, to my classmates after that. I started talking more to my teachers after that, and I found the joy that I once did freshman year. I was once again happy to go to school. I was once again happy to be where I was. And after that, I felt like I knew why I'd come to GCA. I didn't come to get a good education. I could go to any school and get a good education. I'd come here to learn how to be a good Christian. Coming here taught me that to be a good Christian, I need to stop focusing on myself, but focus on other people around me, so that I may show them God's love with the joy that God can give me.
Hello, everybody. How are you? Happy Sabbath. I am Lily Burke. I'm a senior this year, and this is my first year at GCA. So I'm from Kansas City, and a lot of people, when they hear that I'm from Kansas City and I'm a senior, they're like, why are you in Georgia for your senior year? And that is a very lovely question, and I will tell you why. So with my educational experience, it's been a bit of a mix. In elementary school, I was homeschooled until 4th grade, and then I went to the local just SDA school for a while. And then that was kind of going downhill, so for better academics and more opportunities, I went to public school for a while, but that didn't really work out, so I came back to that school. We were looking at Christian schools in the area, just trying to find something that would be a good fit, and we couldn't really find anything until my junior year, last year. What I was doing was taking about half my classes online, and then half of the classes at that school, the Adventist school. So that was exhausting, going to 2 schools at once. I did not sleep much at all. And I was, just by the end of the year, I was so burnt out. I had like no social life. I did nothing but school. And I was just feeling discouraged and really just not hopeful and excited about school. And I'd like to be excited about things. That's kind of the way I am. But there wasn't really anything just to be excited about, I felt. And then when I thought about my senior year, I just felt like discouraged and disappointed that this is what I had, that those are my options. But I thought, these are my options. We've tried literally everything. I'm stuck. I just have to wait it out till college, then I'll go away and it'll all be fine. But God was doing his thing, and I'll tell you about that soon. So my sister goes to Southern, and so this summer at the end of July, my family came to go down and visit her, and we stayed here at GCA because the Nesmiths, the lovely people, they are our relatives. And so we stayed with them, and while we were down here, I was like, whoa, GCA is a place. And then we were driving back, that long drive back to Kansas. If you haven't done it, yeah. And so we were talking about just GCA. The academics they look amazing from, hearing about it, and the activities, all the opportunities that they have here, like all the music programs and the sports. And it seems like a really spiritual place. This was all just from the outside, but we're like, why don't we just call them, just, see what they have to say. All they can say is no or yes. So we're like, okay, let's just call. So we got back home, and we called, and immediately we were super impressed because people were helpful, they were knowledgeable, they wanted to work with us, and they were excited. And so we're like, whoa. And so we were like sending in transcripts and kind of tentatively like, maybe this might be a thing. What? And then I was getting hopeful, like maybe the place I was, that might not be the only option. I might be able to actually go somewhere else. And then we had a family discussion, and we were like, okay, let's look at this. And we said, you know what? It is Georgia. We are in Kansas. It's a little bit too far away, and it's expensive, and just it's really sudden, because it was sudden. It was like less than a week, yeah. And so after that family discussion, we're like, you know what? You're gonna stay home for your senior year, okay? And so it was a Thursday, and so we called, and we're like, you know what? She's just gonna stay at home for her senior year. And after we made that phone call, I was absolutely crushed, because I thought that God had been leading, that maybe that I had another option. I was getting excited about my senior year, but then all of a sudden it was, nope, you're going to be doing the exact same thing again, just completely. I was already exhausted, and school hadn't even started yet. But Sunday night, school started here on Sunday, and so Sunday night, about 8 o'clock or something, we got a phone call. And we saw who it was from, and it was from GCA. And I was like, oh no, I cannot go through this again. And so at the end of our family discussion that we had set like a value in our minds of what we could pay, that was going to be a thing. But then we thought GCA isn't going to happen. We don't even worry about that value. And so, but GCA called, and they said something like, check your email or something. And so we checked the email, and the exact value that we had prayed and set, that was the value of coming to GCA now. So we were like, what? And so we had another family discussion, and about midnight Sunday or Monday morning, we're like, you know what? She's going to GCA. So we packed up my stuff in 2 hours. I left home at 2 a.m. and got here at 3 p.m. on Monday, went to some orientation, something. It's all a bit of a blur from what happened then. And yes, so I got to GCA, and so I absolutely love it. And what I came expecting was better academics than what I came from, and some activities that maybe I might be able to participate in, and maybe that it might be a little bit more spiritual from where I came from. And whoa, all my expectations and all my hopes are like, what? Like what I didn't even think was gonna happen is my expectations were blown away and completely exceeded, because the academics here are rigorous, academic word there. They're so good, and I love them so much. And the people, y'all are so nice and so friendly, and I've enjoyed meeting and making so many new friends. And this place is so spiritual. There's, where I came from, a lot of the schools, this is my 4th high school, goodness. But there's school spirit here. Like, people are passionate and excited about getting involved in stuff, and that also might be a little bit the Holy Spirit too, I think, is just, there's all these spiritual events. There's like dorm chapels, and there's Vespers, and there's midweeks, and there's church and Sabbath school. There's all these things you can get involved in and participate in, and it's such genuine involvement, and the students are excited about that, and that's such a beautiful, rare thing. And I'm so excited that I get to be here and be part of that. And so during the first week or so of school, every teacher, when they were introducing themselves, kind of talking about their class, how it was going to go, they encouraged us to have personal devotions. And I've, of course, tried that in the past, and I've never been able to keep it up. But then, and of course, last year when I didn't sleep much at all, I didn't have any routine, so I didn't do devotions hardly at all. But then coming here, I was like, you know what, why don't I just try that and see if I can keep it up for like a week or so, or a day, or even 5 minutes. And so I started doing devotions, personal devotions every day, and I've actually kept it up this whole school year, and that's changed my life. Like, I actually read my Bible now, and dude, it's got good stuff in there. So I'm so excited that I got that. Never even occurred to me that I would be able to keep consistent with devotions and keep consistently seeking God every day. And here, that's built into GCA. I don't even have to really work that hard to do it. They're encouraging us to do that, and that's so beautiful. And so basically, my GCA experience, I went from at the end of last year and going into senior year just burnt out and discouraged and just dreading senior year, to now I'm here and I'm excited about every new day to meet new friends and to enjoy the academics, and just I'm praising God that I got to come here, and I'm so grateful for the blessing that is GCA. Thank you.
Good evening, happy Sabbath. By the way, Mr. Torzi, I'm so sorry. I almost tripped you there, forgetting my monitor. Rough crowd, man. Okay, anyways, this is my family, I guess, brother and sister in Christ here. This is my dad. We're gonna do a lullaby for you that my dad used to sing to my sisters and I when we were younger. And it worked, getting me to sleep, so it's a good lullaby then. Yeah.
So please don't fall asleep during.
Yes, please.
We'll be here all night. Thank you. All right.
And I will not be afraid. I will not be afraid of the darkness. I will not be afraid. I am resting in you. my Father, I'm your child. Here in your arms I'll lie. Your angels are watching over me, singing a lullaby. And I will not be afraid. I will not be afraid of the darkness. I will not be afraid. I am resting in you. I'm resting in you.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Allison Orms, and I'm a four-year senior here at GCA. When I first came here as a freshman, I was both excited and terrified beyond belief. It was something new, something that I was not completely prepared for. I had come from a school of about 50 students, and I was entering a school of roughly 300. I expected high school to be this terrible place that wasn't fun. I imagined the students always being in a really bad mood, and I thought that the teachers here wouldn't be involved in the students' lives, and I didn't think that they'd want to help us like the teachers in middle school always did. I was just afraid of becoming a freshman. I didn't know what the future was going to hold for me. I had always heard that GCA was a place to grow spiritually and to help us connect with God, to help us recharge or to become fully charged like our theme for this school year is. But to be honest with all of you, I couldn't imagine having a good relationship with Christ if I was going to be overwhelmed with schoolwork, but I was greatly surprised when I actually came here. I discovered that there are so many ways to connect with God alongside the schoolwork that needs to get done. We have opportunities to reach out to the community, and we are able to go on mission trips and gain unforgettable experiences that truly help us grow spiritually. My freshman year, I went on a mission trip to Colombia. It was my first mission trip and hopefully not my last. It gave me new perspectives and taught me really important lessons. But for me personally, aside from all of the amazing outreach projects that GCA offers, the teachers and staff members here at GCA have made the biggest impact on my life. Every faculty member here at GCA deserves enormous recognition. I bug Mr. Herr almost every day, and he greets me with the casual, "What's up, Orms?" probably expecting that I need help with homework, but instead, I'm most likely there just to talk to him. As many students would agree, he always has the most interesting opinions on lots of different subjects. And I know that if I ever have an issue with my car while I'm on campus, he can help me out. He is one of the many that has helped me grow spiritually, just by being a friendly face and being willing to have simple conversations with me that I greatly need sometimes. Mr. Carr is another that I know I can always talk to. He lets me hang out at the grounds building occasionally and tells me that I can make a waffle with the lovely grounds building waffle maker. From him, I also see the importance of being a friendly face. And last year, when I was going through a really rough patch in my life, Mr. Bogus helped me greatly as well, probably more than he is aware. He was willing to help me through the situation by giving me advice and by showing me that he simply cared. From that experience, I learned the importance of being a helping hand. I learned that sometimes people have problems that they want to talk about, but simply don't know who to go to. When someone needs us and we help them, it might not feel like we did all that much, but it could have meant the world to that person. I learned that I need to be there for people, just like teachers here at GCA are here for all of us. I listed only 3, and that list would be much longer if I had more time, only proving the point that the faculty and staff members here at GCA are incredible. They have helped me see the kind of person I should be and the kind of person I want to be. Thanks to them and the help of all of the opportunities that GCA offers, I'm able to say that I have grown spiritually and have been recharged.
sin upon his shoulders. Ashamed, I hear my mocking voice called out among the scoffers. It was my sin that held him there until it was accomplished. His dying breath hath brought me life. I know that it is finished.
I will not boast in anything, no gifts, no power, no wisdom. But I will boast in Jesus Christ, his death and resurrection. Why should I gain from his reward? I cannot give an answer. But this I know with all my heart, his wounds have paid my ransom. Why should I gain from his reward? I cannot give an answer.
This I know with all my heart. His wounds have paid my ransom.
Happy Sabbath. For those of you who don't know, my name is Jared. I'm a 3-year senior, GCA. And for those of you who don't know me, I really like science. And a couple things about science that I found interesting that kind of relate to this topic of charged is Newton's third law. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And that could be anything from me talking and you hearing, or what I like to describe it for the illustration, a bucket full of water. So there's a bucket full of water, and I have a second bucket full of water, and I'm pouring my bucket into the first bucket. Now, as I pour into the bucket's on the ground that's full, for water to go in, water has to come out. So hence, action and reaction. And as people have mentioned, our theme for this school year is charged. And the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the word charged is battery. And there's a cool fact about batteries. If you leave them charging too long, they'll actually explode. If there's no output, if there's nothing coming out of the battery. And it's actually a kind of Bible verse that's kind of interesting that goes along with that. Hebrews chapter 6. Therefore, let us move beyond the elementary teachings about Christ and be taken forward to maturity, spiritual maturity. And so when I came to GCA, I came as a sophomore, kind of scared, like as people have talked about. And I grew a lot. I've grown a lot in the last 3 years. Ultimately, though, biggest way that I grew was from my summers that I spent the last 2 summers. And there were some guys here who, my sophomore year, were like, hey, I just spent the summer canvassing, going out selling Christian books door to door. And my first thought was, I'm never going to do that. Not going to happen. Over the year, though, there's this guy, Calvin Scott, who's over here. He was like, Jared, you need to do canvassing. You're going to love it. And finally, I was like, okay, fine. So did it for the summer, loved it. A couple other guys who did it with us. And I grew a lot. I found myself growing as I was helping others, as I was sharing God's love with other people. I grew. This last summer, I've done it for 2 summers now. This last summer, I was going out house to house like we always do. And it was apartment buildings. And knock on this guy's door. And he answered the door, massive dude, like ex-football player. I looked up, I'm like, ugh. Okay. And we got to talking. He, super nice guy. And he was sharing his story. He just became a Christian about 2 months before. And before he became a Christian, he kind of lived a unique lifestyle, we'll just say that. In his own words, he had children spread across America. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. So I got to spend about 20 to 25 minutes with him, him and his 2 girls there who were in the house with him. And through the whole conversation, you could tell he was really interested in what I was doing and why I was going door to door. Got to leave him with a couple books, and I always try to have prayer with people at the door, because whether they get a book or not, we can be a blessing to them by having prayer with them. And so I went and prayed with this guy. He was named Brandon. And as I was about to leave, he was like, Jared, I wish I could do what you're doing. Like, I wish I had enough courage to go out and do that. And at first I was like, well, okay, thank you. But then I had this other thought, and I was like, well, we could, you could come with me, right now. And he was like, I mean, that's kind of weird. But and yeah, no one's ever done that before. But I was like, well, I could just put the books away, and we could go and just pray with people, pray with your neighbors. You know them better than I do. And he was like, okay, sure, yeah, why not? So we went out, and that's exactly what we did. We went out and went to 8 houses and had prayer with all his neighbors. And that doesn't usually happen when you're normally canvassing. Either someone buys a book from you, or they shut the door in your face, and you just move on. But this was an experience where someone I just met took what I shared with them and went out and did it themselves. That really stuck with me, and kind of goes back to the scientific law I talked about before, where if God's putting his love into you, he can't put his love into you unless you give his love to others. For every action, there has to be an equal and opposite reaction. And that made me think a little bit, that experience and a couple others. How many times are we stagnant Christians, where we come to church, we sit here taking in God, and then we go home and we're done with it, and we come back? Do we ever take what God's putting into us and give it out? Because, like the scientific law said, if we don't give it out, it's not coming in the first place. That's kind of a deep thought. And I look at the people around us in church, and I know for me, that's something I've struggled with. We all struggle with that, of us pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone and sharing God's love with others. And the way that God led me to be able to do that was through canvassing, but he has a different way for everyone. God has a plan for everyone where he wants his love in their lives, which thus there has to be a way to share his love. He's the one who can show that. And so tonight, I just want to challenge everyone here to take the step out in faith and maybe put yourself out of your comfort zone, wherever that may mean, and even if it's not comfortable, share your faith with someone else. Because that's going to do 2 things. That's going to help the people around you, whoever you're sharing Jesus with. That could be what saves them. But at the same time, it could be what saves you. And so that's kind of the message I want us to take from tonight, is for us to be charged, we have to, 1, be looking to God to get strength from him, but also we have to be able to share it. Whatever that may mean to you guys, that's between you and God. But I just want to challenge you to do that today.
Please stand for the benediction. All right, bow your heads with me. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this wonderful evening that we've had together where we've been able to experience music and stories and all these wonderful things that our students have been able to share. Please continue to bless this weekend and help us to be able to show our parents all the wonderful things that we've been doing at GCA and getting to know each other. And please help them to get to know each other as well and learn how wonderful GCA can be themselves. Please be with all the people who are still traveling here and keep them safe and bring them here quickly and swiftly. Please be with this Sabbath and bless it very much. We thank you so much, God. Amen.